welcome to the Superkick podcast for 2024 preview for round 11. The first game is the sheep versus the mangoes at the mango slide. Last time the mangoes were able to annihilate the sheep, where it was round 0, however, where most of the sheep's players were not playing. So Hawkins returns for the sheep this week to play his record-breaking game. Lafau is out due to injury, while for the Mangoes, Kaczynski will probably come in as a replacement for Lafau due to the injury concerns at the Tigers. We're looking at the Hawkins needs to produce a big score, kick a lot of goals in his record-breaking game in order to have the sheep win, which I think he can do. So I think the sheep will win by 12 points. In the next matchup, we have the Goldfest playing Don is Good, with Don is Good in ripping form. However, Isaac Rankin is out for 3 weeks with a hamstring. So he will require Lohmann to back up with his 5 goals against Hawthorn this week, while the Goldfest will be hoping for Fogarty to produce a good game against the Eagles, which he generally does. It's his bogey side. So this game is going to be very tight. I suspect it will be scoring in around the 100 mark, both sides. But I think Don is Good will just get over the line by 2 points. And moving on to the Stars versus the Vengeance at the Surgery. This game is a grudge match between the two sides that normally merge when there's not enough teams. So we're looking at Stengel will have to produce his good ripping form so far again in order for the Vengeance to win, whereas the Stars requiring a win in order to stay in touch with the top 6. Would like to see Todd Marshall produce a good game, along with possibly Ryan Marrick returning to Adelaide Oval, where he made his debut last year, and hopefully he'll be able to kick a few goals. My prediction is an upset here, with the Vengeance winning by 10 points. In the next game of the round, we have the Vital at Pye Park versus the top of the table East Quiche. Here we think that Sam Darcy and Shai Bolton should have big games, especially Bolton in the Dreamtime clash. Pedler will return probably for the Crows and Vital. But I think that the Quiche has too much depth here. I think they'll win by around 40 points. In the final game of the round, it's the Scorpions versus the Pirates, and it's the Pirates who will be looking for Tex Walker and Kyle Langford to kick a big score against Richmond and the West Coast, whereas the Scorpions will be looking for multiples from Cameron and Van Ruin, as well as Ginnivan. Lockie Gallant may come in for the Crows due to Himmelberg's injury, but I think that the Pirates will have too much firepower and will beat the Scorpions by 22 points. Taking a look at the BH Cup final now, with the Funky Balls playing the Walsh Dogs, and I think that the Funky Balls will have too much firepower here, with Mychek still unavailable for the Walsh Dogs. Kyle Lohmann might be able to reproduce his form like he did last week against the Hawks, but I doubt it. I think that Hogan, Riccardi, Petrocelli, Darling and Josh Tracy should be too much, and as well as Harry Mackay should be too much for the Walsh Dogs to handle. they'll need a very strong defence. I think that the Funky Balls will move into the semi-finals of the BH Cup, winning by 5 goals. Moving on to the SMS League now, and we have the Rubber Gloves taking on the Wobbly Kickers at Windy Hill. Having a look at the sides, it's Peter Wright's opportunity to put on a massive score for the Rubber Gloves, while Wobbly Kickers have Taylor Walker and Mitch Owens. But I think that the Rubber Gloves have just a tiny bit more firepower this week in terms of the matchups, with Hawkins as well returning. So I think the Rubber Gloves will win by 20 points. Now moving on to the Fortress playing the Walsh Dogs, who are playing their second game of the week. It looks like the Walsh Dogs will be quite tired in this game, only really Lohman being able to produce anything on the scoreboard. I think Langford will have a big day against the Tigers, as well as Finlayson and Waterman. There should be too much firepower for the Walsh Dogs, the Fortress winning by 10 goals. Free Smoke now take on A-Track at the Cigar Lounge, and I think at home where Free Smoke is comfortable, can relax a little bit here. I think with Jed Walter and Cameron coming back in, and Harrison Jones should have a big game against the Tigers, as well as Fritsch. It should be too much for the A-Track, who will be hoping for a reproduction of Humphrey's 5 goals and Fogarty having a great game against the Eagles. But I think that the Free Smoke will win by 21 points. Moving on now to the Minted Mick playing the top of the table Asians in this game at the Tin. Having a look at the squads, it looks like with Rankin being out, it doesn't really hurt the Asians. They've got plenty of depth with Norton, Hardwick, Cameron and Riccardi to cover whatever loss they had with Rankin. They've found a player in Blake Hardwick, so I think they'll be perfectly placed here to win quite comfortably. Should win by 10 goals. And the final game of the round is White Line Fever versus the Pokie Bombs. Last time they played, it was very close. There was only 5 points in it. I think that it will be similar type of game this time around, with the White Line Fever getting the goods, basically. They'll just be hoping for a miss to not have the yips, much like McKay having the yips against the previous week for the Pokie Bombs. So it's really down to Hugo Hagen versus Ben King, I think, with I think the White Line Fever taking it out, winning by under a goal.